Grand Rising, each and every one of you. Today is Wednesday, January the 29th. The current time is 7:14 Central Time. Unraveling ASAP Rocky's shocking trial. Friend or foe, the truth revealed. In this compelling video, we delve into the ongoing trial of Grammy-nominated rapper ASAP Rocky, whose real name is Rakim Mayers. The case centers around serious allegations that he discharged a firearm at former friend and collaborator Terell Ephron in 2021 near a Hollywood hotel. Despite the gravity of the charges, Rocky has opted to reject a plea deal that would have resulted in a 188 jail sentence, a 7-year suspended sentence, and 3 years of probation. Join us as we explore the details of this high-profile case and its implications for the artist's future. All right, so without further ado, let's go ahead and introduce to you the case. This is day number 2. Actually, and today, Wednesday, January 29th, today is day number 3. So be prepared to be in court today.
By the way, before Friday, we had this little chat. You and I had never met or spoken before, correct?
No, I've never met you, sir.
Since Friday, have you spoken to anyone about your testimony?
I had people ask me about it, but didn't really get into detail.
You just speak obviously to the prosecutors.
No, sir, we agreed not to in anticipation for that question.
There you go. When you say you have people ask you about it, who asked you about it?
Coworkers, friends, that sort of thing.
Oh, curious.
Sure.
But you didn't go into it with that.
No.
Again, when you were, just a recap, when you were arriving at the scene of a call for shooting, you're looking for victims, right?
Correct.
Damage to vehicles in this instance.
Correct.
Shell casings.
Correct.
Now, we put into evidence defense exhibit A. Can you see that on the screen in front of you?
This one doesn't work, but I'll turn.
Okay, thanks. Anyway, the street shown there in this video is Vista Del Mar, right?
Correct.
And the video starts at the end of Vista Del Mar, closest to Selma, right?
Correct. It's right at the intersection.
Right. And with the first 15 seconds of that video, you approach a homeless person and ask to be heard shooting. Do you recall that?
I don't independently recall that.
Okay, let's play that part. Guys, there, Byron.
Hey, Val, did you hear any shooting over here? Yeah.
Okay, that's you, right?
Yes, on the left side.
Okay, you were asking, you said, hey, Al, you hear a shooting over here, correct?
Yes, that was me.
Okay. By the way, why was your body cam not on there anymore?
I really don't remember. I don't have an answer for that.
Your Honor, just for the purpose of going forward here, we have copies of the transcript of this in case we have to refer to that. I have many copies.
Alex, could you distribute the transcripts to all of the jurors and,
Yes, sir. Do the concept.
does anybody at council table need one of these transcripts?
We like.
What do you think is like, what do you think?
No, I don't think so. That's okay.
No, we have it. Hold on.
You want me to wait to distribute them?
No, distribute.
Yes, sir. What do you want? This is gonna be Z.
That's exhibit B.
If there's an extra one, Alex, I don't want to take it from any of you.
Yeah, we can. Hold on. I don't need that.
All right, Kathy, all right, I'm good with that. All right. Does anybody not have a transcript?
Take it one point down.
Let's make sure everybody has a transcript.
Your Honor, I don't know if we formally both sides stipulate that it's audio recording or video recording on the video where we have transcripts.
Actually, the stipulation is not necessary. There's a rule of court that said that when audio tapes are played, the court reporter does not take it down.
I was referring to that rule of court, or that's what I thought.
I just learned that 6 months ago. Yeah, there's no stipulations required. They just don't.
Well, if it was, we would say. Gotta take
Thank you for that.
agreements from Mr. Jacobina and I.
All right.
That'll happen once in a while. So sorry, you obviously, we'll look at the signs of the shooting again.
Yes.
It's still on. And the video shows multiple officers searching for signs of the shooting on East Delmar, right?
Yes.
And directing your attention to 22, 35, and 54 seconds of that video, the officers are conducting a search using their flashlights aimed at the ground, right? And we'll get you right there. I said 22, 35, and 54 seconds. So, almost. Anyway, right there. Go ahead, let's go.
Yeah, stop sign, parking lot. What you said right there. Okay, so what's the make and model?
Obviously, everyone has their searchlights out looking for evidence, right?
Yes, sir.
And obviously, I think this is something you'd agree with, that you wouldn't have wanted to, or none of you would have wanted to overlook important evidence at the scene of that shooting, right?
Correct.
So it was careful and attentive. And obviously, were you a sergeant there as well, or since,
No, sir, I was a police officer 3, I was a training officer.
and then got promoted?
Yes, sir.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So, as an attentive officer, when performing your duty, you made it obviously a point to be careful and attentive looking for evidence, right?
Yes, sir.
Now, initially, you said you thought there were 3 officers at the scene?
Correct, and that was based off of the when my body worn video that we watched.
Right, I understand. No problem. But you agree that there's more now, right?
Oh, yeah,
So, okay. As a matter of fact, there's 7.
okay.
Well, you don't take my word. Let's go to the video. I'll direct your attention to 22, 40, and 36 seconds.
We'll stipulate council if that helps as well, if there were 7.
Yes, thank you. Just want to, just a quick peek. So, okay. All right. Okay, do you see, would you agree that 7 officers are at the scene?
I don't dispute that there were 7 officers at scene.
I know you don't dispute, but you would agree that you see 7 officers right there, right? There are 6 in the frame, you
Including,
got one in the body.
correct, including that one, yes, 7.
7, okay. And everyone, to your knowledge, was doing their job when they were at the scene, correct?
Yes.
Direct your attention to 22, 37, 03 on that video. That's you on East Del Mar on the side of the street closest to the parking lot, right?
Correct.
Okay. And we're looking, by the way, for the record, we're looking south towards Selma Avenue. So you're standing on the west side of the street, right?
Correct, I'm presently facing west in this shot, but yes, this is south in this camera.
And officers are searching that area for evidence of shooting with the flashlights, right?
Yes, sir.
And that is directly opposite, Sergeant, that orange portion of that wall there, right?
Well, I'm sorry, what's your question?
That where the officers are, right there,
Right.
including you, is directly opposite that orange, whatever that thing is, portion of a wall,
Correct,
right? Which is next to that adjacent block there, right?
yes,
A vacant lot, I should say. So that's right across from that orange, whatever, correct?
correct.
I'd like to show you, these two photographs. One is that, but we're gonna put them juxtaposed and put them right side by side. Okay. The first one is basically the still frame of what we just looked at. You see the one on the left?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And that's you guys right across from that orange wall, we'll call it.
Correct. Yes.
And then the one on the right, with that single individual there, he appears to be standing in that same exact spot. You also start with that orange wall there as well. We can blow it up a little bit, can we? See that, George? See the orange wall on the other side?
I see orange there. I mean, based off this photo, I'll be honest with you, I can't tell much beyond that. I
We'll
see.
go back out. There's that vacant lot right there, right?
Right.
You see
Okay.
that?
Yeah, and you know what, the driveway on this side, yeah, I see what you're saying.
So it's basically where that individual is where those officers are, correct?
Approximate, yes, I would say so.
Okay. And so just as we talked earlier about the parking lot where your body cam was, just as in the parking lot, you agree there was no sign of a shooting on the street as well?
Correct.
No blood,
No, sir.
no bullet holes,
No, sir.
no shell casings,
No, sir.
no physical evidence of a shooting was recovered at all.
No, sir.
Directing your attention to 22:37 and 29 seconds. Well, we can play this portion, go ahead.
We're checking the area. It doesn't look like anybody's projecting like that.
By the way, for the transcript, what you read, anyone's location? Sorry. Page 2, line 14 of that transcript, which is defense exhibit B, please. I'm sorry, you have it?
I actually do not.
Oh, okay. So you take the ball, yeah. Sarge, I'll give you this copy. It's, you can see page 2, line 14. That is it. Okay, we, start playing that portion again, maybe go back a few seconds. Okay,
We're checking the area. It doesn't look like anybody's projecting like that.
okay. So that's one of your, do you know who that was speaking?
I actually don't.
Okay, well, one of the officers, right?
Yes.
And you say basically we're checking the area, doesn't look like anyone got hurt, right?
Correct.
And direct your attention to 22:38, which is basically a minute later, 21 seconds.
And take every car in the block. There's nothing, no hits. But who does? To the second PR. Okay, because I got two friends that came up.
This is page 3, Sergeant, and it's on line 4, please. Can you play that portion again, please?
Same only possible. And take every car in the block. There's nothing, no hits.
Okay. And then a few seconds later, 22:38:40, which, second one, make sure we direct to the right portion of the transcript, guys. Okay. Next portion, I'll direct to the same page, page 3, line 20. So that, line 20. And now we can play that portion, go ahead.
There's no evidence for now. We can, you know, No evidence.
So one of the officers, you know who that was speaking, by the way?
I did.
Who was that?
So at the time, Officer John Cook, now Sergeant John Cook.
Sorry, John, okay. We said it's gonna be no evidence for now, we have no victims, no evidence, right?
Correct.
Now, directing your attention, directing your attention to 2240-04. Last page, here, please. Go to page 5, line 2, sorry. Ladies and gentlemen. Page 5, line 2. And go ahead, you can play that when you're ready.
Yeah, it sounds like someone probably fired a shot at your hair to scare somebody.
Your Honor, we would have an objection on hearsay. It's not coming in. Overruled, sir. Overruled.
And lastly, direct your attention to 2240 and 26 seconds, which would be same page, page 5, line 14, sorry.
Yes, sir.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, no victims as of now, so unless one pops up in the hospital, probably just a warning shot. Okay, you got it.
Okay. Who was that speaking, do you know?
That's also,
Sergeant Cook?
Yes.
John Cook, whatever.
yes,
Again, no victims as of now, unless it pops up in the hospital, probably just a warning shot, right?
that's what he said.
And after responding to East Del Mar and Selma Avenue, and carefully searching the scene with the fellow officers, you found no physical evidence of shooting whatsoever.
That's correct.
And of course, to be clear, that includes no evidence of a shell casing recovery, correct?
Correct, that includes that as
Sorry,
well.
thank you very much for your time.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Lewis, anything? Oh, Mr. Sloman, anything?
Thank you.
Go ahead.
All right, Sergeant,
Yes, sir.
you were asked questions, I believe, on Friday, of Mr. Takina about your conversations with the DAs on this case. Is that something that customarily happens prior to your testifying?
Yes, it is in every case.
And this incident specifically happened approximately just over 3 years ago, correct?
Correct, yeah.
When you first received a subpoena related to this case, did you immediately know what incident you were even called to testify about?
Absolutely not, no.
Was it of assistance to you in refreshing your memory to be directed to your body worn video from this specific incident?
Absolutely, yes.
In his questioning on Friday and also today, Mr. Takapina asked you questions about searching for shell casings, I believe is how he phrased them. Are you familiar with the term shells, casings, cartridge cases, things like that?
Yes, sir,
What is your personal background, training, and experience as it relates to firearms?
Well, I have the training I received from the Los Angeles Police Department. I've also attended various trainings outside on my own time related to firearms training, different weapon systems, marksmanship, mostly related, that sort of thing.
In the course of that training that you're talking about, have you, can you even estimate how many rounds of ammunition you fired?
I cannot.
That's a lot.
Right.
Okay.
Over the years, yes.
Are you familiar with, just in general, with handguns, the difference between a revolver and a semi-automatic pistol?
I am, yes.
And in very broad terms, what is the difference between those two types of guns?
Well, I think the biggest distinction would be that a revolver operates from a rotating cylinder where it has each individual chambers, usually typically 5 or 6 chambers, where each round, the bullet, sits inside the individual chambers. And when the trigger is pressed to the rear, the cylinder rotates, hammer comes back, strikes the round, discharges the round. Then it continues to rotate. The difference between that and a semi-automatic pistol is all of those rounds are contained in a magazine, and it's magazine fed. So there is no rotating cylinder. Revolvers do not eject those casings the same way a semi-automatic weapon does. Every trigger press with a semi-automatic weapon, a shell casing ejects. And with a revolver, it stays within that chamber, continues to rotate until the weapon is empty, and then you manually eject those casings all at once.
So when you were looking for evidence at this scene specifically of cartridge cases being on the ground, that would be in the expectation that a semi-automatic pistol was used, correct?
Correct.
Because with a semi-automatic, those cartridge cases, once the bullet is fired, come out the side of the gun.
Correct, with every press of the trigger.
Okay. And is that true of all semi-automatic handguns? That's how they operate?
Yes,
Have you personally fired semi-automatic handguns?
yes, I have.
When you fire, just in your own personal experience, when you fire a semi-automatic handgun, do those cartridge cases always come out in exactly the same trajectory, or do they kind of have a tendency to go in different directions?
The different directions.
Okay. And is it those discarded or used cartridge cases that you would have been looking for that night?
Those are the same ones we're talking about, yes.
All right. Just to put a fine point on that, when you searched that entire area, the street, the parking lot, you didn't find any cartridge cases anywhere.
No, I didn't.
And none of your 6 other partners who responded there with you observed or recovered any either, correct?
That's also correct.
You were asked questions, or I'm sorry, I think you were directed to the transcript about page 3, lines 4 and 5, where one of your partners says that he checked every car in the lot and there's nothing, no hits, correct?
Correct.
In your experience responding to crime scenes throughout your entire career where a gun has been discharged, what are the types of damage that you would look for on a car specifically related to a shooting call?
Sure, so flat tires, glass that's been spiderwebbed, right, or totally blown out, impacts to sides of doors or ricochets off of hoods. These are things that I'm just recalling from recent observations, those sorts of observations.
Are some of those observations easier to see than others?
Yes, absolutely.
Can you describe that for the jury?
Well, I think the best way to illustrate that is you have a white 4-door vehicle. It's easy to see the impact where the paint is missing and the metal is bent and distorted. Whereas if you have a vehicle with a darker colored paint job, you might miss it, right? You might not see it. It might blend in.
But also, even more generally, if a window is shattered, you're gonna see a large shatter in that window, potentially.
Right, it's hard to miss.
And if a tire is flat, that's easier to see too, correct?
Yes, it is.
Versus, and I want you to assume for purposes of this that we're talking about the hole from a 9mm chambered round. If you observed a bullet hole in either plastic or metal of a car from a 9mm round, that would be a lot smaller, correct?
Comparatively speaking to other larger rounds, yes.
And even comparatively speaking to if the 9mm hit glass or a tire, correct?
Correct.
If a firearm was fired in a downward trajectory and struck the ground, would you expect the round would either ricochet up into the bottom of the car or potentially fragment into bullet fragments that would then strike the car?
I think both of those scenarios are possible.
Okay. Did you and your partners check the bottoms of cars?
No, we didn't.
And in fact, to this point of any damage on the cars, were you or any of your partners, to your knowledge at that scene, familiar with the condition of any of those cars before you responded?
No, we weren't.
So you don't know if any of those cars already had any damage on them?
That's correct, yeah.
Okay. I need that video. Do you have it on a DVD or?
Yeah.
Oh, I can do it. I can do it. I can do it.
Yeah.
Sergeant, I'm gonna show you defense A. I have the video paused. We've been referring to the timestamp in the upper right-hand corner at 22:38:43. Can you see that on the screen?
Yes, sir.
Just to orient the jury as far as where we're looking at here, would you agree the street on the far right of the screen would be Selma, correct?
Correct, that's Selma, that runs east to west.
And then we can just barely see a stop sign. And there's kind of a street directly in front of the officer who's shooting this video, correct? And that would be Vista Del Mar.
Correct, that's Vista Del Mar.
Okay. I want to direct your attention to the handicap parking stalls there. Would you agree that the one closest to the stop sign does not have a car parked in?
Correct.
All right. I'm gonna start this from around the beginning.
Hey, Cal, did you hear this?
One second.
Hey,
My apologies, sir. I didn't mark it on the transcript, but I'm not sure where that corresponds to on the video. One second.
you look at the corner, somebody was trying this down. So, let's go to the hospital. Probably just a morning shot. Yeah, you gotta get it.
Sergeant, I can replay this section, but can you hear what sounds like a crowd of people in the background of this video? I'm gonna play it starting at 22:40:41. I'll play it forward for a few seconds.
Okay.
Do you hear a number of people's voices in the background? Not officers.
Right, it's distantly, yes.
this a busy area of Hollywood?
Oh, absolutely, yes.
Okay. Those noises that we hear, would that just kind of be, people in the surrounding areas, out on Saturday night?
Correct.
I don't have anything else here.
Just a phone.
Sort of. Let's go to, 223708, please, on that same video. So I just think that there's a famous orange wall over there. You see that thing on the left?
Yes, sir.
All right. And right across where you guys were searching, where that individual was before, right across there. There's cars right next to that, right?
Correct.
Okay, bunch of cars on the other side of that orange wall, right?
The rider vans here.
Yeah, yes, there's cars on the other side, I'm saying, of that orange wall, across the street where the offices are.
Right, correct.
Yes, you see those?
Yes.
And, okay, you could scoot around if you want. Or?
No.
We're done. Okay. So you talked about things that you're looking for, flat tires in the car, or broken glass, right? Those two. Impacts on side doors.
Yes, sir.
In any event, you found none of that, right?
That's correct.
And by the way, you never received a report of a complainant at any point in this case that the car was damaged, did you?
At the time when I was at scene, I didn't know.
At any time after, did you become aware?
If somebody had reported it,
Yeah.
unless I handled it myself, I wouldn't have knowledge of it, right, if it was after the fact.
And one last thing, the Glock is one of those semi-automatics that does in fact eject shell casings, right?
Correct, it's a striker firearm.
Thank you.
All right, Sergeant Sisso, thank you. Thanks for coming back today. You'll see who's next witness.
My next witness is, Leah Robinson.
Okay. Oh, let me mention to you about tomorrow. One of the people involved has a commitment that cannot be avoided. So we're going to start a little early and we're going to go a little longer. We're going to go 10 to 12:30 tomorrow, but that's going to be it. And then we'll break about 11:15. So be here tomorrow at 10 and then you'll be excused for the day at 12:30. But the following day, normal schedule, 10:30 to noon, 1:30. Okay?
You don't mind just raising your arm? Yeah. You mind just raising your right hand for us, please? Thank you. Some of the state testimony you may give of the cause of not living before this court should be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. Thank you. Please take a seat on the witness stand there. And please adjust the microphone and state and spell your name for the record.
Leah Elizabeth Martin Brown.
Okay, you're loud. You need to raise up your voice.
Sorry, Leah Elizabeth Martin Brown.
Please spell your name for us.
LeahElizabeth.
Thank you.
And Brown, common spelling?
Martin-Brown, common spelling.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Wilson, go ahead.
Good morning, this is Martin Brown. Are you, as you sit here right now, are you nervous?
Yes.
Have you ever testified before?
No.
This is is an uncomfortable feeling.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Try to get through it quickly. On Saturday, November 6th of 2021, were you living or were you in an apartment at 1600 Vine Street in Hollywood?
Yes.
I'm gonna show you, turn off the TV. There is something that works up there that should work. All C's. I'm also gonna, if you don't mind, can I reach over and
Yes.
see if I can turn this on? There you go.
And what exhibit are you showing us?
This is People's Exhibit 1, Your Honor, the map. Ms. Martin Brown showing you what I marked as People's Exhibit 1. I'm going to direct your attention towards the bottom. You recognize the area that's depicted in that map?
Yes.
And is the apartment that you were at that evening depicted on this map?
Yes.
Can you point to it for us on the screen behind you? And there should be a stick. Okay. All right, and so she's pointing to the northwest corner of Argyle and Selma. The apartment that you were in that evening, did it have either an exterior facing window or a patio area?
Both.
And what street did those windows look out on?
Argyle and then also Selma.
So from the window, you could see the corner of Argyle and Selma?
I could see pretty much all of Argyle and then up until like Selma in the back of Davy Wayne's, which is a club along there.
Where would Davy Wayne's be?
Like around here-ish.
Okay, so you're pointing all the way to the corner of El Centro and Selma, correct?
Yeah.
Was the apartment that you were in, what floor was that on?
The 7th, it was apartment 701.
Okay. So from the 7th floor, you're high enough that you can see over the buildings there that are at the northeast corner of Argyle and Selma, correct?
Sorry to interrupt. Ask the court, please modulating a little bit right there.
The people's position is foundational.
Not the last question.
We could put, that's a question. Please.
Okay, so from the 7th floor, you were up high enough that you could see over the buildings that are at the northeast corner of Argyle and Selma, correct?
Sustain.
Okay. If I could mark my next exhibit, Your Honor.
6.
Equal 6. One-page document with a single photograph appears to depict the corner of Argyle and Selma. Showing you what I just marked as people 6, you recognize that street corner?
Yes.
And do you see the building that you were living in this photograph?
Yes.
Can you point to it for us? Right, I'm gonna zoom in. You're pointing to the building on the far left of the screen. If I can, all right. The apartment that you were living in that building, was it?
I'm pointing to the exact balcony.
Oh, you are, okay.
Yeah. This here.
How do you want to describe that? So I would say in the photograph, there are a number of, let's see,
Why don't you bring it up to her, let her surface,
I can do that.
and then put it on the projector.
That's good. Let's do it one more time with a Sharpie. So another sharp with the ball point.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay. Putting people six back up. The black mark that you made here is the exact document you're talking about, correct?
Correct.
Now, it appears that directly across the street from the building that you were living in, there's a number of buildings on this corner of Hart Island, correct?
Correct.
From your vantage point, could you see over those buildings?
Yes.
Taking you back to People's One, you said you were able to see all the way to Selma and Mount Central?
Yes.
That night, so November 6, 2021, at approximately 10:18 p.m., did you call 911?
Yes.
Why did you call 911 that night?
I thought someone had been hurt and I wanted to make sure an ambulance came.
How was it that you thought someone had been hurt?
I saw an altercation and it appeared that there may have been a gun involved. So I thought if someone was hurt, I didn't want them to die, if that had been the case. But again, I was on the 7th floor, so.
How many people were involved in the altercation that you're talking about?
3.
Where was the first place that you saw those 3 people, if you remember?
Walking down Argyle,
When you say walking down Argyle, what street would they have been walking towards?
Selma,
And how far up Argyle, so away from Selma, did you see them? Was there some point of reference that you have?
the parking garage that leads into the El Centro apartments.
Okay. Might be difficult to see here on People's 6, but do you see the entrance to the parking garage on this, in this photograph?
Sort of.
Where is it that you sort of see that?
It was a little further up here.
Okay. There's a red,
Indicating on the right-hand side of the photo, halfway up after the first set of cars on the right-hand side of the street.
there's a red sign here that we can see that's vertical. Do you know, does that sign say, if you could read the full thing, does it say parking?
I believe it does, yes.
And would that essentially be the entrance to the parking lot?
Yes,
Maybe a little past that?
it was a little further up that. But
Okay.
yes.
Thank you. What was the first thing that you observed between the interaction of those people that you described?
Again, it was like, I was on a 7th floor balcony. It appeared that they were arguing and they kind of ducked under the parking structure roof and there was like some loud yelling and then they appeared to be fine but went around the corner into the back parking lot and then that's where it appeared that there was another kind of issue and there appeared to be like allegedly a gun drawn and someone appeared to be shot.
Okay, I want to start at the parking garage. You said you saw these 3 people arguing outside of the garage. Did you see a firearm at all while they were outside of the garage?
I was on the 7th floor.
I understand your perspective. From the 7th floor, did you see anything that
Not at that
resembled?
time.
Okay. So the only thing that you observed from the area right in front of the parking garage was arguing, is that what you're saying?
They seemed to go sort of underneath the roof. There may have been like something physical, but it was obscured by predominantly it was obscured by the roof.
Did you see any physical contact between those men?
Very briefly before underneath, but again, I don't want to speak on that any further.
Thank you. And I'm not asking you to speculate on anything that you're saying happened when you couldn't see them, but from the point that you could see them, what physical contact was it that you saw?
Someone appeared to grab someone.
Were there any, where on the person who was grabbed, where on their body were they grabbed?
I'm not sure, I was too far away.
Did you see any punches thrown or anything like that?
I said what I saw.
Okay.
I don't really.
Thank you. You saw one person grabbed and then they,
And then they kind of went underneath it, like there's like a roof thing that obscured things.
all right, fair to say while they were under this roof or overhang, you couldn't see them, correct?
Correct.
When you next saw any of the individuals in that scuffle, where was that person going?
The three appeared, again, I couldn't identify who was who, they just all looked like equal to me. I just saw them all in a group walking towards Selma.
Were all three of them plunged together, or was there any separation between the three?
I can't really accurately recall.
Okay. As you saw them walking towards Selma, could you hear anything that was happening between them?
No,
Did you hear even any raised voices, even if you couldn't make out exactly what was said?
prior to that, yes, but at that stage, no.
When you say prior to, do you mean at the parking garage?
Yeah.
Okay. So you heard arguing at the parking garage, but you didn't hear any arguing as they went down Argyle?
No.
When these three were, did it appear to you that they were all men?
It did appear that they were all men.
Okay. Is there anything else distinct about them that you could describe?
No, one was wearing a black hoodie, but again, it was a long time ago. I don't know if that would be an accurate recollection.
Okay. When they, could you even tell the race of these people?
It was dark. I don't know.
Okay. So when these three men got to the corner of Argyle and Selma, where did you see them go?
I saw them turn, from my perspective, left, and then into it's kind of like a parking lot behind these buildings.
Okay. I still have people 6 displayed up on the screen here. Can you see the direction that they went in this photograph?
Yes.
And where would, if you could take the pointer, just kind of show us where they walked down Argyle and which way they went down Selma. Okay, so Your Honor, I would say she's describing walking southbound on Argyle towards Selma on the east side of the street, and then making a left turn and staying on the north sidewalk of Selma headed eastbound. So you're describing them walking past this building out of view, correct?
They weren't out of view for me.
My apologies, that was not a great question. It would have been off of this
Yes.
photograph. Correct? So if I take you back to People's One, what you described was them walking south on Argyle, making a left on Selma, and continuing on Selma, correct?
Yes, and turning into like a parking lot area.
And as they were walking on Selma, could you still see all three of the men that you've been describing?
Yes.
Did you hear anything between them at that point while they were on Selma?
No.
Did you see any interactions between them while they were on Selma?
No.
You said they got all the way to the corner of Vista Del Mar, correct?
From my vantage point, it appeared that they went into the parking lot area. I'm not entirely sure what the street is called. I just know that it's behind me on Central Apartments.
Okay. If it's marked here as Vista Del Mar, does that sound accurate to you?
If that's marked as that, then I suppose it is accurate.
Okay. And you know that there's a parking lot at that corner of
Yes,
Vista Del Mar and Selma?
yes,
So you said, what you described was they walked into the parking lot, correct?
yes.
Where did you see them go from the parking lot?
I saw them in the parking lot, and then they had what appeared to be an altercation, and then everyone left.
Can you describe what you mean when you say they had an altercation?
Again, this was a long time ago. I can only speak on what I can remember. It appeared that they had some kind of disagreement. There was what appeared to be like a firearm pulled. There appeared to be shots, and then people ran away.
The initial altercation that you're talking about, what was the first thing that you observed?
I can't recall.
Okay. The person that you observed with the gun, where was that person in relation to the two other people?
Closer to the El Centro apartments than someone.
See.
Just to let you know, we're gonna
photograph, single photograph of Selma and this Belmar. This Martin Brown, showing you the photograph that I just marked as people section. Do you recognize the intersection that we see here of Vista Del Mar and Selma?
Yes,
And is this the intersection that you were talking about just before lunch?
yes,
All right. Can you actually see your apartment building in the background of the picture?
yes,
Would it be the big building here to the left?
yes,
And I believe you said before lunch that the apartment you were in was closer, or farther away from Selma, so closer to this side of the building, correct?
yes, correct.
Up 7 stories high.
Yeah.
Now, you had described looking out. Were you on the balcony or were you looking out the window?
I started out on the balcony and then as things progressed, went inside to the windows.
So at the point where you saw them then walking down Argyle after the parking garage altercation, were you inside or outside of the apartment?
Outside,
And then when the men turned onto Selma, were you still inside or outside of the apartment?
we moved inside.
Okay, so at the point where you described you saw the men arrive here at Selma and Vista Del Mar, you were inside of your apartment.
Correct.
And what is the first thing that you recall seeing when you saw the men arrive at that intersection?
They were in this parking lot and I couldn't hear anything, but it appeared that there was some kind of, I don't really know how to describe it, you could just tell that the vibe changed and then they appeared to argue and then there appeared to be a gun pulled and then 2 shots fired. It appeared that someone fell down. There were some cars, so I didn't see what happened to that person, which is why I called 911. And then people ran off, someone ran through the El Centro apartments, another scattered. And that, at that point is kind of why I called, because I didn't see the third person, so I was like, I hope they're okay.
Okay. Now, I'm gonna kind of go step by step through what you just said. The first part of your statement that you said, the words you used were the vibe changed, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. And you described there being an altercation. Did you see any physical contact between any of the 3 men?
No, it appeared to me that they were maybe exchanging words.
Okay. The man with the, well, how many of the men did you see produce guns?
1,
And what, if anything, did you see that man do?
he appeared to be closer to the El Centro apartments, and it was more of like a jump back and pulled out a gun and then fired twice, or appeared to fire twice. And then everyone just, the people that I could see dispersed very quickly.
You keep referencing the El Centro apartments.
Yes,
Is it possible for you to point the direction you're talking about on this exhibit where those apartments would be?
these ones here.
Okay, so the direction that you're talking about that person taking on the street, can you kind of show us with the pointer on this exhibit?
It happened inside a parking lot, so this looks different to how it did when I lived there, so, but it appeared that they could access, like ran through here towards Hollywood Boulevard.
Generally, are you saying though running away from Selma?
Yes,
Okay. And that, the first person that you saw heading that direction was the man with the gun?
yes. They kind of dispersed at the same time, and one went kind of through El Centro from what I could see, and the other went, it happened very fast.
Okay. You said it appeared that the man with the gun discharged the gun twice, were your words, correct?
Yes.
What about the situation made you believe that he had discharged it?
The sound?
Could you actually hear 2 gunshots?
Yes.
Okay. The same time that you saw that man with the gun doing that jumping motion that you talked about?
Yes.
Okay. that, Your Honor, I'm gonna mark my next exhibit, the DVD and the transcript.
DB is this of the 911 call?
Yes.
All right, that'll be people's 8. And the transcript is 9. Do you have enough transcripts for everybody?
I believe I do, Your Honor.
All right, Alex, can you distribute those, please?
Yes, sir.
You have transcript?
Here is the mark the transcript, you know.
The next one?
Oh, I do.
Oh, we're missing one.
We got it.
Everybody's got a transcript?
There's only one audio recording on this, Your Honor. I'm just gonna play it all the way through.
That'd be louder.
Hi, I live in the apartment on the corner of Argyle and Selma in Hollywood, and there's a student shooting.
Did you see it, or you just heard it?
Yes, no, we watched it.
Okay, what did you see?
There were 4 men, and they were kind of fighting as they were walking along Argyle, and then they turned left on Selma, we heard yelling and they started running, and they turned left into the back lot apartment for El Centro Apartments, and someone pulled out, the guy in the black sweatshirt pulled out a gun,
Okay,
and he shot, and I think the guy who shot was a blue.
let's talk about the guy with the handgun, with the black, white, Asian.
He was black, they were all black.
Everyone put their clothes back there,
He was wearing a black, a black hoodie.
all black.
I was on the 7th floor, so this is just what I could see from the
Can you look where you are, or do you know where he is?
No, they all ran away in different directions. 2 of them ran like towards the El Centro apartment.
Let's focus on the guy that had the handgun, you know, which way he went.
I think he went to the left.
I knew he was, I just saw all through.
Yeah,
Okay,
3
but-
lanes towards Hollywood Boulevard.
all right, but I didn't want, I really want to focus on the guy that had the handgun. You said had the handgun, I want to know which way he went. They went in the direction of travel, did he go east or west or south, or what apartment?
I think he went north.
North, okay.
I think he
North,
went north towards mine, but I'm not sure.
okay,
That's where we kind of ran inside together.
okay. And do we know if anyone injured, anyone got any medical assistance?
We're not sure. I saw someone go down, but there's a building in the way, and I'm not sure if they ran away.
Okay, and what's your name?
My name is Leah.
Yeah, all right, and your phone number is
Yes.
and that just to confirm from where you are, where you can't see anything down, you can't see anything in the convulsion at all. You don't see anything
No,
there?
I'm on the 7th floor, so there's a building that kind of blocks it.
Okay, all right, no problem, I'll go ahead and I'll get it, with you, and I'll put it in the call, okay?
Alright,
Ms. Martin Brown, in the call, have you ever heard that call before?
No.
Is that no?
That's no.
In the call, you described 4 men, correct?
Correct.
Fair to say that the day of this incident, as you're talking to the 911 operator, your memory was better because you were observing it?
Yes.
Okay. The only other question I want to ask you to clarify is, in the call, you said 3 of the men ran towards Hollywood Boulevard. Which, and I put people's 1 back up on the screen. From the parking lot that you're describing, where would the men have gone to go to Hollywood Boulevard?
I assume up the middle of the apartments. This was a very long time ago.
Okay, that's fair. But I just mean generally, it would be from the parking lot here towards the top of the page, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Did you actually see the police arrive after you called 911?
Yes.
Did you go down and speak to the police while they were there?
No, I said I didn't want to speak to them when they called me back
Why was it that you didn't want to speak to the police officers?
because I absolutely did not want to be involved. I was only calling in case someone was hurt.
I should ask too, the female voice that we hear on that call, do you recognize that to be you?
Yes.
I don't have any other questions for her.
Mr. Zephyr?
Hi, good afternoon, this is Martin Brown. You and I have never spoken to each other, right?
We have not.
In fact, yesterday, you refused to speak with the investigator from the defense, correct?
Correct.
People's Exhibit number 7, which is right behind you, where is your balcony in that picture there? Can you see it from there?
Yeah.
I'm just, okay, let's scoot up a little bit. Sure. All right, you know what? Yeah, that's. That's what I'm trying to just, before you start left this.
Which certificate is that?
7 people said. Alright. So you were up there, when you observed what you described, correct?
Correct.
And you said the vibe changed at one point?
Yes.
You felt from up there that the vibe shifted?
Yeah, they seem to move further away from one another.
Okay. And where did the person you said you thought the person went down, where did the person go down?
From,
Get your point there.
Oh, sorry.
It's all right.
from where my balcony is, as you can see, there are some buildings.
Yeah.
So most of what happened was in further towards the center of the car park where there were no cars. When someone went down, they went near the cars and that obscured my view.
Show us at that point where all the stuff happened before you.
So in the middle here and then towards this kind of wall where the cars are parked as well. That
So
kind of obscured a little bit at the end.
just, Barbara, just focus on that for a person. So it's your testimony that what you observed from your 7th floor balcony, all occurred inside the car park.
The last part, yeah.
Okay, the part where there was the scuffling, the sound of the gun,
Yes,
and 2 people, and someone going down.
yes,
That was inside the car park,
yes.
closer to the back wall of the car park where that tent is, that tent over there.
Indicating
No, it was kind of in this area from what I could observe. It appeared to be
This area meaning what?
in the middle.
middle of the car.
Yes,
Just so the record's clear, she first indicated what looks like a blue tent towards the back of the building. That's what counsel was asking about. The witness then indicated further up, and she pointed to the thing by a white pickup truck. Is that agree, counsel?
Yeah, sure. Thank you. But back at that point,
Yeah.
point that you know. So around here, we're talking about what you saw from the balcony here.
directly in the middle of the area. And then I could see, like, we could see the tail end of the parked cars when it occurred. So that's what obscured the end when someone fell.
So they weren't over here on the street, right?
Honestly, from that vantage point, it could have appeared that that street was part of it, but I thought it occurred in the car park. But again, I was on a 7th floor balcony.
Okay. So, aside from that, by the way, who's with you? I heard no voice.
My ex-partner and my old roommate.
Two other people.
Yes.
What's their names?
Do I have Joachim Unge? And then another friend of mine who does not want to be identified.
Okay, what was the first one? Sorry.
Joachim Unge. He's Swedish.
Yeah, the spelling likely for the record.
Joakim Unge.
That's one individual.
Yes,
And there was a second one.
yes.
And the second one,
She does not wish to be identified.
she told you that.
Yes.
So why she doesn't wish to be identified?
Probably because she doesn't want to be doing what I'm doing
Sure,
right
there's
now.
no reason. By the way, we talked about it, and I heard on the 911 call, you said that there was a building that in part obstructed some of your view, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Did anything else interfere with your ability to proceed that night?
Potentially.
Potentially what?
It was a Saturday evening.
Okay, what else happened on that Saturday that potentially was impaired your ability to proceed?
So we were watching movies and I had a hit of a joint.
You had what?
I had a hit of a joint.
So you had used the joint in marijuana?
Yeah.
You used marijuana that night before observing what you saw, correct?
Very lightly.
Very likely. Did you tell that to the police that night when they called you back?
No, I just said I didn't want to speak to police.
Okay. And I think you said on the 911 call, we just heard it, so I don't have to replay it for you, but, the apartment you were at the time was up on the 7th floor, right? I had that right, 7th floor?
Yes.
Okay. And it was on the corner of Argyle and Selma.
Yeah.
And let's put up people's one, can I do that for me? Oh. I didn't play. So that's on me to go on.
Your Honor, it looks like it's working on here, and it's not past discharged, it's about 3 months.
I've never looked at it.
We did more again. You did it. You- Okay, so that's, you saw that before people, that's a little crooked. So just straighten out for a second. That's people's one, correct? That's what you saw before, this map behind you, right? Miss Mark Brown.
Yes.
So, before hearing what you believe to be a gunshot or 2 gunshots, you saw people fighting in the street.
Having an altercation, yes.
Um,
But I did say that part of it was obscured by the top of the car park's roof.
As a matter of fact, what you just said on that 911 call was that there were four men, and they was kind of fighting as they were walking along Argyle, and then they turned left onto South, correct?
Yes, correct.
And that was at the time.
Yes, it had just happened.
Right, so your recollection obviously would have been much better than
Yes.
today.
I have not, the first I've heard of this again was literally a week and a half ago, so you can excuse me for being a little shady on the
Oh,
details.
no, it's normal, right? I mean,
Yeah.
obviously, it's almost 4 years later.
Yeah.
But, what you said back then, on that 911 call would have been accurate,
Yes,
right?
Yes.
Best of your ability.
yes,
Despite it, after you said those four men, were kind of fighting, walking along Argyle, they turned left onto Selma. After that happened, you saw these people turn left onto Selma Avenue, right?
yes,
And at that time, you heard yelling, according to your 911 call, right?
okay,
And then you saw people starting to run, according to the 911, correct?
yes, correct,
And according to your 911 call, only after you heard the yelling and saw people start to run, you saw what you believed to be a gun, correct?
correct,
And you told the police that after seeing someone pull out the gun, he shot
yes, correct,
him. And to be clear, that happened after the people turned left from Selma Avenue.
correct.
And the street they turned left onto before you heard the shot was East Belmont.
I wasn't sure what the street name was, I just knew that there was like a car park there, but yes, if according to that map, yes,
Assuming that matters, right? East
Correct.
Belmont, right? Obviously, from your 7-4 value, you didn't see a bullet or anything come out of that gun, right? You just heard a sound.
I saw flashes.
Okay.
But I heard shots, I saw flashes, but I obviously can't see from that.
Correct. And obviously, you didn't see anyone get hit. You thought you saw someone go down, right?
I saw someone go down, I didn't know if they'd been hit or not, and that's why I called 911.
Right. And you didn't know, and by the way, I think you said on direct here today, your testimony today, again, I know it was several years later, it appeared someone may have had a gun involved, but you're not sure because you were on the 7th floor. Recall saying that this morning, in your direct testimony?
Was that when you were when they were talking about underneath the parking structure or in the actual open? Because if we're talking about when there was the altercation on Argyle, then I couldn't have been sure because it was under a roof and I was on the 7th floor. But when it was in the car park, it appeared to be a gun.
Okay.
Because otherwise, why would it make noise and flash?
Okay. Now, it's your testimony that you saw someone going down with an incident.
Oh, I'm so
Your
sorry.
testimony that you saw someone going down. with an
Yes.
incident, all right, and according to you, you think the person who was shot was wearing blue clothing.
I said that in the 911 call. As of this moment, I do not recall.
Yes, I know you good in this walk around, right? No one's suggesting you should, as you sit here today, remember exactly what you saw back in November of 2020. I'm basing my questions and your answers on your 911
Yes.
call, okay?
Okay, perfect,
So what's in
sorry.
that 911 call is really what we should be relying on, right? Yes.
Your Honor,
Yes.
Your Honor, that's an objectionable question.
Okay. Well, let me ask you this, is there anything in your 911 call that was correct today?
No, there's not. I have been as accurate as possible with the time that has passed. I'm just here to give testimony and then leave, hopefully. Yes,
You will be able to these.
thank you.
Anyway, according to your 911 call, you thought that person who was shot was wearing blue,
According to my 911 call, yes.
and then you said, believe all the people ran in different directions.
According to my 911 call, yes.
And you can't be sure, I guess, the direction, you believe the person had a gun, right?
According to the 911 call, yes.
At one point in your 911 call, you said you weren't even sure if the people ran away, right?
Correct.
And then when did they call you back? Is that what happened?
They did call me back, yes.
Okay. And basically there were officers at the scene at that point already?
I can't recall if the officers were already at the scene, but I do know that they were on their way.
Okay. And that's when the 911 operator asked if you would meet the officers
Yes,
and you declined.
yes, correct.
All right, thank you. Mark Brown, over.
Thank you.
Mr. Zolke? All right, Ms. Martin Brown, thank you for coming in. You are excused. Next witness.
The next witness is Terell Ephron. You may state and believe he's,
Great. You need,
might take a couple minutes or easily down an hour or something.
You might just right across from me, please. And if you just right about there, raise your right hand for us, please. Thank you. Some state that the testimony you may give in the cause not to before this court, should the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. Thank you. Please take a seat at the witness stand right over there. Please adjust the microphone and tell us your first name. Tell us your name, then spell it for the record.
Terell Ephron, TerellEphron.
No, it's stationary. I'll try to speak into the mic. All right, Mr. Wellman, the floor is yours.
Morning, or good afternoon. Do you have a man seated at the table in the tan jacket?
Yes,
What's his name?
Rakim Mayers.
And do you know him by any other nicknames?
ASAP Rocky, Lago.
How did you first meet him?
In high school, we grew up together.
How old were you, do you think, when you first met him?
Probably like 17, 18.
When you first met him, was he a well-known famous rapper?
No,
I want to jump ahead to November 6th, 2021, the date of this incident. Do you remember approximately, or do you remember how old you were that day?
shouldn't.
How old were you on the day that this happened? Do you remember?
Probably 33, 32.
Okay. Would it be fair to say you knew him about maybe 15 years at that point?
Yes,
Over the 15 years that you knew him, were the two of you friends?
yeah.
Can you describe the closeness of your relationship to him?
The whole 15 years.
Yeah, over the course of your relationship, sort of how it started and then how close you were throughout the 15 years.
Well, I mean, we started a collective ASAP, which is a bunch of, how would you call it, like a bunch of people from New York that got different down nerves.
It's okay. Just take a minute, take a couple deep breaths. The relationship that you're describing in high school, were the two of you close friends? Like, would you see him every day, or was this sort of a friendship where you knew of him but didn't really know him?
No, we knew each other. We knew each other. We knew each other very well. I mean, it was probably like 6 or 7 of us. Probably like 4 of them was rappers.
Do you think you'd see him every day?
Up until he got famous, yeah.
Okay.
Like a little bit until he got famous.
How long do you think you knew him before? I know it's hard to peg down exactly when someone becomes famous, but about how long do you think you knew him before he became famous?
7 years.
And over that 7 years, it was a regular occurrence that you would be with him almost every day, correct?
Yeah.
Would you describe him at that time, the beginning of your relationship, as someone that was like a brother to you?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, you started to tell us about ASAP. What does ASAP stand for?
It means a lot of different things, but what we strive to prosper.
Were you a member of ASAP?
Yes,
Within ASAP, did you have a nickname that you went by?
yeah, really. Is that right?
Was that something that started when you were in high school?
Yeah.
What year of high school do you remember? Like, were you a junior, a senior?
Oh, it was like a senior.
Did you know someone by the name of Elijah Elanger?
Yes,
Was he also a member of ASAP?
yes.
Did he have a nickname that he went by in ASAP?
ASAP Hills?
And I'm gonna ask Mark my next.
Ten.
Do you recognize the person depicted here in People's 10?
Yeah,
And who is that?
Elijah.
Okay. Is it easier for you to refer to him as Elijah, Hills? How do you want to refer to him?
Hills?
Hills, okay. Was he one of the kind of original members of ASAP?
Yeah.
How would you describe for the jury your relationship or your closeness with Elijah or Hills?
I mean, it was pretty good up until the incident.
Would you, up until the incident, would you have considered him a close friend of yours?
Yeah.
Was he someone that you would talk to on a regular basis?
Yeah, I talked to him the night before the incident. I was at his crib, his house actually.
Okay. Would is it fair to say kind of up until the day of that incident, you've known him maybe approximately 15 years too?
Yeah, just
Do you know someone by the name of Jamel Phillips?
yeah,
And is he also a member of ASAP?
yeah.
What, if any, nicknames does he go by?
ASAP Hills.
Can I read my next exhibit?
Is anybody having trouble here? Everybody's okay? You're having some trouble?
Yeah.
Mr. Ephron, could you try to speak up a little bit, please?
I'm in our People's 11 year.
Yes. What is it?
It's a one-page document, a single photograph, depicting two people. Mr. Ephron, showing you the person on the left in this photograph. Do you recognize who that is?
Yeah.
Who's that?
July 12th.
And kind of like the same question with Hills, what's the easiest way for you to refer to him?
I was never really that cool with him.
No, I mean, as we're talking about the different people involved in this, how do you want me to refer to him? Do you want me to call him 12E? Do you want me to call him
Yeah.
Janelle?
12th.
Okay, 12E. And the person who's next to him in this photograph, do you recognize that person?
Yeah, that's Rakim.
You said regarding 12E that you were not as close to him, correct?
Is that yes?
Yes.
How would you, put it in your own words, how would you describe your relationship with 12E prior to the incident?
I mean, there was never no problems, but I never wasn't that cool with him. Like, we really didn't interact that much.
Would you, if
He
you
wasn't
saw him
like a-
somewhere?
He came kind of like later, so like I really wasn't like chilling with him or chilling with anybody who came after the fact. It was ASAP.
Okay, so what you're describing is kind of you and the defendant and Ills had known each other longer, and then 12B came after that core group was formed.
Yeah, so me, Jabari, Ills, and Rocky pretty much started ASAP. And
Okay,
anybody else who came after, if they wasn't like genuinely like trying to better themselves or do something other than like fooling around, kind of distance myself.
okay. Is that, you mentioned the name Jabari, who's Jabari?
What do you mean by that?
What's his name?
Jabari. That's his name. ASAP Bari.
Okay. Does he have any other nicknames that you go by?
Young Lord.
Would he also have been considered part of the ASAP collective that you described?
Oh, yeah.
Within that collective of members of ASAP, were all the people that were members, were they all rappers?
No.
What were some of the other pursuits that members of ASAP would also pursue?
Fashion, producing, anything involved with like culture, really.
What, were you a rapper?
No.
What was your contribution to the group?
I was a manager. Not of ASAP, but I created my own company.
What was the name of your company?
Shut up.
And when you say you were a manager, what does that mean?
I was scout for talent, like I had producers, I had artists. I helped actually ASAP members with stuff.
So the managing that you're talking about is all related to the music industry, correct?
Yes.
And you're saying you would try to find people who are talented at different areas within music, like rapping or producing, correct?
Yeah.
And would you try to help get them projects?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay. The person that you refer to as Jabari, did you also refer to him as Bari?
Yeah, Bari.
So if we say Jabari or Bari, we're talking about the same person?
Yes.
That person, Jabari, how close were you to him?
I would say we both good.
Was he someone that you would see on a regular basis?
Yeah.
Did you have problems in the time that you knew him with him specifically?
Mhm.
Is that no?
No.
Okay. Were you with Jabari the day before this incident on November 5th of 2021?
Yes, I was.
That day, November 5th, where in the country were you with Jabari?
We actually missed a flight. We were supposed to go to Chicago, but we was in LA.
Okay. So the whole time you're with him, you're in Los Angeles, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you live in Los Angeles at the time?
No.
What state did you live in November of 2021?
New York.
How long have you been in Los Angeles on November 5th, 2021? So if you can tell us the exact day that you flew in, that's fine, or if you can just give us an estimate of how many days you've been in Los Angeles.
I probably flew in, I think the 5th
So that day.
or the 4th, I don't know. Like, my artist was in town, so he was recording. So I don't know, it was a while ago. I'll have to look at text messages or something like that.
Okay. Would that refresh your recollection?
Yeah.
Okay. May I have a return? Oh, I'm sorry. You don't have to. Yeah, I apologize. Right. You told us that. Refresh your recollection.
Yeah.
Okay. So what days were you specifically in Los Angeles with your artist while he was recording?
Let me see, I get what data is.
What did you
I was
attempt to?
leaving, I didn't look at it.
Hold on. What did you attempt to refresh recollection?
A text message.
Is it a screenshot?
Yes. I wasn't gonna mark it as an exhibit.
You don't have to. It's just used to refresh his recollection. It doesn't have to be an exhibit.
Let me see the date, I was just reading.
Yeah, take your time.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, so what days were you in Los Angeles with your artist?
Probably got here the 3rd day.
Okay.
Probably flew on the 3rd, because I got on the Airbnb. That's pretty close to my hotel.
Hey, Terell, you gotta keep your voice. Try to, your voice is soft, so try to speak into it.
So what I think you're saying is you arrived in Los Angeles, to the best of your recollection, November 3rd of 2021, correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
And your artist, the artist that you were managing was recording music the 4th, 5th, and 6th, correct?
I believe so, yes.
How did you get to Los Angeles on the 3rd?
What do you mean?
And you're from New York, how did you get here?
Oh,
When you say you flew, did you fly on a private plane or on a commercial jet?
on a Delta. Commercial.
Did you have to go through airport security?
Yeah.
Okay, you said you met up with Jabari on November 5th in Los Angeles, correct?
Yeah.
Do you recall where you met him?
When I first met Jabari,
Yeah. Well, I
when I
mean,
first linked up,
that day, November 5th, where did you meet him?
in his apartment, I mean, in his house.
And is that in Los Angeles?
Is that yes? Is that
Yes.
While you were with Jabari that day, did you overhear a conversation between Jabari and the defendant, Mr. Mayers?
Yeah, we was on our way back from the airport, and he got a call from Ronnie.
So the defendant called Jabari?
Yeah.
And can you describe for the jury how it was that you were able to hear the defendant on that call?
We was in the back of the SUV, and he got a call from Rocky. He put the phone on his stomach. So he was laying back in the truck, and he put his phone on his stomach, and just was like listening, like talking to him.
Was the
And I'm in
phone
the other chair.
was the phone on speaker?
Yeah.
So you could hear both sides of the conversation?
Yeah.
What was the nature of the call between Jabari and the defendant?
It started off first, I believe, like Rocky was trying to get Barbie to come to this complex con 10-year anniversary thing, and Jabari declined, and the conversation got kind of weird, like, and then Jabari says something like, "Oh, I see you got ills in 12 on the jet," and it became like an inside joke because Rocky hasn't hit them, and it just became an inside joke. Kind of. So then Rocky's like, "Oh yeah, you know, I got my niggas with me, boom, 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 whatever." And then instantly after that, he says, "Fuck that nigga Relly." And I'm like, I'm sitting in the back of the chair, and I kind of get up, and I'm like, and then Barbie like stops me. He's like, and then I'm listening, and then he's like, "Oh yeah, I don't fuck with." Can I say what I want to say?
Yes.
Say it.
So he pretty much was like, "Oh, I don't fuck with that nigga. He mad emotional, like this, that, and the third." Pretty much. It was so long ago, but it was in the contents of that. And then Jabari was like, "What you mean you don't fuck with him?" And he's like, "I just don't fuck with him. I don't like that nigga, like this, that, and the third." And after he said something about like so long ago, but he was like, I'll beat him up or something like that. So, you want to keep going?
Let me stop you. You said that you keep saying he said. Were those all things that the defendant said specifically?
Yeah,
So he was the one that said he doesn't fuck with you, correct?
yeah.
Had you said anything at that point in the car that would have alerted him to the fact that you were actually in the car?
No, he didn't know I was there.
Did
I wanted
Jabari,
to say something, but Ari was like kind of put his hand to the side to like my leg, you know what I mean? And I was just listening.
I'm assuming then that Jabari didn't tell him, I'm in the car with.
Oh no.
Okay, so as far as you knew, the defendant had no idea that you were in the car.
No, he had no idea.
Other than the specific things that you already said about you, is there anything else that you can recall that the defendant said about you on that call?
Not at the moment. It was like 3 years ago. So like, I got anxiety. I got anxiety right now. So it's like chocolate.
past, have you said that on that call, the defendant said, referring to you, he's a bitch?
That's objection leading.
All right. At that moment, on November 5th of 2021, were you aware of tension between you and the defense?
Too much, too much.
At the point that the defendant is saying those things about you on the phone, were you also feeling tension in your relationship with him?
I mean, it's kind of always been like that towards, it's really hard having a relationship with Rakim.
Can you explain that?
I mean, you want to tell me my personal experience, or
Yes.
I feel like he's fake?
How so?
He lies a lot. Like, I don't see him, so it's like, how are we gonna have a relationship? You know what I mean?
Is there anything specific that you can think of?
Yeah, with like my companies or just anything, like overall, like, you know what I mean? Like I had this one job I call him Mr. 6-month man, because I would see him every 6 months. You know what I mean? But then when he come around, it's like, it's fake. You know what I mean? Like, what are we supposed to be in this ASAP thing for? It's all smoking mirrors.
Did you actually voice your displeasure?
Oh,
to
yeah.
him?
Yeah.
How did you do that?
Through text messages, but nothing ever like threatening him or anything, just mostly telling him like, you gotta tighten up, this shit fake.
But you would text message him and say,
And he won't text me back. He would never text me back.
okay.
I'll probably see him, we'll have a conversation, he'll laugh, like, oh bro, you emotional or something like that. And intense like, you know, shit like that.
When he calls you emotional, you heard that as an insult to you, correct?
Not really,
Okay, how did you take it?
like he's trying to shoot me off, like using that as like leverage to be like, not get business done, I guess.
All right, I want to direct your attention to the very next day, so November 6th, 2021, the day of this incident. Where were you staying at that night in Los Angeles?
Staying at the Lowe's Hotel in Hollywood.
And that evening, did you have any plans to meet up with the defendant at all?
No, I haven't spoken to him in months, probably prior to that. I texted him, but he never answered me back.
You mentioned in your earlier answer that there was this event called Complex Con that was going on that weekend, correct?
Yes.
And I believe you said the defendant was actually performing at that concert series, correct?
Yeah.
Did you have plans to go with the defendant to Complex Con?
No. I wasn't on that jet. I didn't get no phone call, so why would I, you know what I mean?
So that's, I guess, what I'm asking you to explain. As far as Complex Con, you had no plans to go there, and certainly not to go with him.
Right.
Did you have plans to go with Ills or with 12?
No.
What was your business in Los Angeles at that time?
Working with my artists.
And if you can recall, what are the hours that you're working with your artists?
Oh, I'm booked pretty much all day sessions. We was finishing up a mixtape for, I believe one of these labels wanted me to like show them like something like better than, cause I had a couple songs, so they just wanted to see like a compilation of the work that I'm doing.
Okay. How long, you're saying hours, how many hours would these sessions?
I don't know, I would be in and out, I would never stay in the studio that long.
Okay.
I was looking for the artist.
At around 9:23 that evening, did you receive a series of calls and text messages from the defendant, Ills and 12?
Oh yeah.
At the time that you were receiving those communications, what were you doing?
I was sleeping.
next exhibit, Your Honor.
12.
It is a single photograph, a screenshot of a call log. Your Honor,
No. Let me see. Oh, right.
I'm gonna show it to you. You recognize what you see here?
Yeah.
And what is this?
It's my whole house.
And is this a photograph that you specifically took? Like a screenshot?
Yeah.
Okay. And what is reflected in your call log here?
What do you mean?
Okay, all these numbers are in red. Does that mean anything to you?
Miss Cole?
And who were the people that you were missing calls from? Starting at the top of the page.
Rocky. That's a larger number. That's 12E, 12E. Elijah, Rocky.
Okay. And did you receive those missed calls kind of in quick succession? Meaning like right after each other?
I don't know. I woke up to a FaceTime call from Rocky. So then after I noticed I had all those missed calls, I didn't like wake up and notice the calls.
Prior to you waking up, did you receive any text messages from the defendant?
Yeah.
So you're saying you received a bunch of missed calls while you were asleep. You woke up, you answered your phone, talked to him, and then you kind of went back and looked at your phone afterwards. Is that accurate?
Yeah.
And that's when you saw you had a bunch of missed calls from him, and Elijah at 12. Did you also have text messages from him?
Yeah.
We'll mark my next turn as 13. If I may approach with people's 13 now. You recognize what you see here?
Yeah.
And just in general, what is this photograph
This is a screenshot.
of your phone?
I mean, Rocky's text message. Yes.
And is this screenshots, text messages that you received from him that day?
You
Yes.
said yes?
Yes.
Sorry. Every time you say that, or he's gonna ask you. Yeah, but if you can, try to say yes or no.
Yes.
So there are 3 messages at the top that are in gray. Are those from you or are those from the defendant?
That's from Rocky.
And if you would read them one after another, what do they say?
Where you at? Question mark. Let's get to it. Stop ducking my calls.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah. When he texted you, specifically the phrase "let's get to it," did you know what he was referring to?
I mean, I had kind of an idea that he wanted to probably fight or something, or just argue or something. I don't know.
What gave you that idea?
The day before his conversation.
So you still have that conversation that he had with Jabari in your head at the time you read that text message?
Yeah, that conversation spoke volume because I never heard him talk like that. And over the whole, many years I know him, I told him a bunch of times, if you ever had a problem with me, let me know, because shit's not adding up.
Okay. When you said that you thought he wanted to fight you, what do you specifically mean by that phrase, fight you?
Like, what do you mean by that?
Do you mean physical violence? Do you mean an argument? What do
Yeah,
you-
like an argument, maybe like a physical, I don't know. I don't know what he was thinking.
Did, at that point, were you wanting to have a physical fight with him?
No.
Those text messages that you read from him, when you read those, did you perceive those to be aggressive towards you?
Yeah.
Now, you said also when you woke up, you talked to him on FaceTime, correct?
Yeah.
What was your conversation with him about?
He was just more so like, okay, so he was like, where you at? And I'm like, huh? And then he's like, where are you? Like, kind of like broke down. And I'm like, instantly, I don't know, for some reason, I just told him the W. You know what I mean? And then he's like, no, you're not. That's a bum ass hotel. So I'm like, and then he's like, show me where you at. So then I got up to bed and I kind of, the Lowe's Hotel is on Hollywood. The W is in Hollywood. So it kind of, everything kind of looked the same. So when I showed him outside, I think that was good enough to the point he believed I was at the W.
Okay. When you said you received this call, were you fully awake even when you started talking to him?
No, I was still asleep, kind of.
And you said, he first asked you, where are you at? And you said, I think you said, huh?
Yeah, I said,
And then you said, he broke it down, where you at?
no, where are you? Like, where you at? Where are you? Like, kind of like with force the second time. Like,
Okay, that was even my question. What was his tone of voice when he said, where are you?
okay, so the first one was like kind of regular. After I said, or whatever. The second one was just like, wait, like, you know, it was a problem. Like, where are you? Like, where you at? Like, you know what I mean?
And you said that after you told him you were sitting at the W, he called your room a bum-ass room.
Yeah,
What does that mean?
I guess it's dealing with like the W.
Like not as nice?
I don't know.
How did you receive it?
Yeah, pretty. Like, I was still sleeping. I didn't care. I just wanted to show him outside the window to figure out what the hell is going on. You know what I mean? Are we gonna link up? Like, what's going on? What's the purpose of this call?
At the moment you're talking to him, did you have any idea why you wanted to meet up with you?
No.
Okay, you said you showed him Hollywood Boulevard outside of your hotel. What was the next thing that happened in your phone call after that?
I think he said he'd be right there. And then that's when I text Elijah, like, because then I'm looking at my phone and I'm noticing I got all these text messages. And like I said, text me too and call me, but I don't like, like that. So I like ills. I know ills, you know what I mean? So text ills. I'm like, what's going on? Pretty much.
Hold on.
I don't remember exactly what I said from that day because it was 3 years ago, but I hit ills to like kind of confirm like what's going on.
Yeah, and that's fine. At that point, did you know that 12B and Hills were with the defendant?
What do you mean? Like,
Did you know that
Come in.
them work together?
like come to link me?
No, I mean in general, that.
Oh yeah, because it was on the plane.
Okay. And so when you received the messages from Hills and from 12B, you understood at that time that they were with the defendant, correct?
Yeah.
After your conversation let me clarify that, when you say you're on FaceTime, was that FaceTime that also had video associated with it?
Yes.
So he could see you through the phone, correct?
Yes.
After your conversation with him, did the two of you make plans to meet up?
I mean, I didn't really make plans. It was kind of like wake up. And I wanted to, thought we were just gonna talk and like really hash things out. Because this happened before, not like this, but like where we talk shit out, you know what I mean? And like I said, I called him Mr. 6 months and I haven't seen him in a very long time. So maybe he hasn't read the room, you know what I mean? Like, okay, yeah.
You said in the past when you had problems with him, you felt comfortable just expressing that to him verbally and talking, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Is that a yes?
Yes.
And was that sort of something that had happened on multiple occasions where the two of you would talk and work out your problems verbally?
And I'm gonna ask the leading, be curtailed a little bit, please, that last question.
Your Honor, we can.
Can you say that again, please?
Was that something that had happened multiple times where the two of you would talk and work out your problems, or was that something that only happened once before?
I mean, if we worked out our problems, we wouldn't be here. So this was an ongoing thing, just like open and ending, you know, like promises or anything, you know what I mean? But I didn't care really. I was always working towards my goals at the end of the day, what I wanted to accomplish out of the situation.
I guess what I'm trying to list or ask you about is, have you had problems in your relationship with the defendant prior to this?
I wouldn't say problem. I don't know. Me personally, I never had a problem with him, but I think he had a problem with me.
Okay. You say, I think the words that you used to describe what
No,
you
I actually do know he had a problem with me because in the text message, he says that I got him cut, like I let him get cut. And that happened a year something. So that means you're holding on a grudge and something I didn't even had nothing to do with.
Okay, we'll get there. Hold on.
I feel like that was our whole relationship, like just weird grudges. I don't know.
Okay. Are you saying that you felt like he had a problem with you, but you didn't have a problem with him? Is
Yeah,
that?
no, of course I didn't have a problem with him.
But you had sent him messages in the past where you had expressed, you know, your disappointment. You already said that,
I
right?
did.
So there
And I
was
think we have
some,
those text messages. The text messages, I always still, like, how you say it, like, complimented him or picked him up for his success. At the same time, like, you're doing bad.
okay.
But then the same text messages, like, I never was like just straight out like, oh, fuck you. I never said fuck you. I probably did, but it was like real wishy-washy in the sense like love, like, I don't know, some, you know, but I never really got responses back from him.
I'm trying to understand, if you can, what your state of mind is as you're going to this meeting with him, or as you said, to link up with him.
My state of mind?
Yeah.
I was feeling real confident because, like I said, I don't think he read the room. I'm doing really good for myself. So I felt like this is a time for me and him to like actually come to common ground and be like, fuck the bullshit. You know what I mean? Because what are we doing here? Like, you talk to everybody else like that. You're not talking to me like that, nor am I accepting of this. You know what I mean?
When you say read the room, what do you mean by that phrase?
Because why would you do what you did if you're not under? I say read the room is because like you're not reading the room, like you're not knowing who you're dealing with. You know what I mean? Like you're thinking you could just he knows of me, but he didn't know what I was up to. So you're probably thinking I'm a bum or I'm not like this person, somebody you could just have your way with.
Did you feel personally like your music career was becoming more successful?
Yeah, for sure. I was going in and out of the label meetings.
Would you say at that point that was essentially the height of your career in the music business? Have you been more successful? Okay.
Yeah. In the music industry, yeah. Yeah, I was at my highest I ever been because I finally figured it out. I figured out how to make money back in everything. So I made my own label.
Sorry, and I don't mean to talk over you. My apologies for that. You said that going into this meeting, you were confident. Is that what you mean by?
It wasn't even a meeting. I wouldn't even call it a meeting. It was just like, I'm linking up with Rocky. I
What does
haven't
that
seen
mean?
it do it in dumb long.
Yeah.
Like, anytime you want, like, you're gonna go link him. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't see the dude.
What does that phrase "link with him" mean to you? Are you saying something less, like more informal than?
Like, if,
Yeah.
for instance, if we had a problem, I felt like it could have been hashed out the moment he seen me, but instead, it was like, it got nasty. You know what I mean? Like, he didn't read the room. He didn't take a second to think.
Okay. Where is it specifically that you ultimately linked up with?
Well, when I was walking from Lowe's, because it's kind of far away, I was texting Elijah, and then I told him I'm like next to Trader Joe's or something, because I know the area of the W. So then I don't really know the streets. So the top of the W that I just, instead of being on the side of W, I cross the street for some reason. And then I see Rocky walking, well, I don't see him yet, walking down the block. Then I hear him. I hear him first before I even see him. He has a hoodie on.
Okay. Is there any kind of landmark in the area that where you ultimately linked up with?
What do you mean?
Meaning, you're saying I don't remember what the streets were called. That's okay, but was there something on the street where you met him that you could say we were outside of this?
Oh, it was directly across from the entrance way of the W. Like, there's a parking lot, like right, like where we stopped at, kind of.
I'm gonna mark my next exhibit, Your Honor.
14.
Mr. Ephron, showing you equals 14. Do you recognize what you see there?
Yeah.
And do you see the entrance of the parking lot that you were talking about?
Yeah, so I was walking like right here.
There's a pointer, you see a wooden pointer anywhere? Yeah, use that.
So I was walking on this block, coming straight here, and then he was like somewhere right here. And then I heard him. You want me to check what out?
Well, I'm just asking, do you recognize this area?
Oh yeah.
And is that specifically the parking lot that you met him in front of?
Yeah.
All right. You said you don't know the streets in that area very well, but did you know where Hollywood Boulevard was?
Yeah.
And were you at all close to Hollywood Boulevard?
Yes, the main like strip, I believe.
Would that have been like directly above where you
Yeah,
met him?
above.
All right, I'm gonna show you number 2, where Hollywood Boulevard is labeled here at the top. You see that?
You see what now?
Is the screen in front of you working? Just so you don't have to turn around.
No, it's not.
Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay. Along the top of this page, I know there's a lot going on here, but you see, you recognize this to be Hollywood Boulevard at the top?
I'm not from LA, so
Okay.
I wouldn't really, but that's Hollywood Boulevard. Yeah.
Let's go to People's Exhibit 2. This is clearly marked.
Oh
Hollywood
yeah,
Boulevard.
yo.
Sorry, People's One. Thank you. The street that you came down was next to the W Hotel, correct? I know it's not marked on here, but,
Yeah, it was the hotel.
did you come down the street that was right next to the W Hotel?
Yes,
And you came from Hollywood Boulevard down the street?
yeah. Because I traveled from the Lobos, so I took out Hollywood Boulevard.
Did you walk pretty much Hollywood Boulevard the entire way?
Yeah.
And, you said then at the W, then you turned and came down the street next to the.
Yeah, Argyle.
Okay. If you don't remember the name of the street, that's fine. Just, you can tell us by the landmarks, but what you're saying is you came Hollywood Boulevard to the W, and then you turned down a small street that was next to the W.
Mhm.
Is that yes?
Yes.
And I believe you said in your prior answer that the street that you were on had the entrance to the valet area of the W, correct?
No, I wasn't on the side of the W.
No, I'm saying that street is where you would enter the W Hotel.
Oh, yeah.
And, but you said you were specifically on the other side of the street from the W.
Yes.
Okay. Let's go back to the parking garage. This, you described it before on People's 14, coming this way, so from the lower left-hand corner towards the top right-hand corner of the page in that direction on the sidewalk, correct?
Yes.
So would the W have been on the opposite side of the street?
Yeah, right inside.
And as you were walking down that street, what was the next thing that you remembered that caught your attention?
I didn't see nobody. I heard Rocky though. I heard him say, "What now, pussy?" But it's been so long, so what now, pussy, or what now? Like, something along the lines of that. Like he was like, "What now?"
And what was his tone of voice?
Oh, he was loud. Like that's what caught my attention. And then I seen Elijah, and then Jamel, and then that's when I'm walking. Like, cause I was continuing walking. I wasn't like stopping or waiting around anywhere. I was already walking. They was already there. So
Where?
I guess they was already on Argyle because they was calling me still. Elijah was calling me to see where I'm at. Mind you, I was far. That hotel's far. So when I got there, I'm walking down the block. I wasn't like waiting, holding him or anything. I'm still en route pretty much. So I hear him as I'm en route still. And then that's when we meet up and then we see the altercation.
But you're saying the first thing that caught your attention was his voice, correct?
Yeah.
Saying, "What now, pussy?"
Yeah, when I push you.
And it was loud.
Yeah.
Was it aggressive?
Yeah.
Okay, after that, hearing that, did you see him?
Yeah, truthfully, it was all like a movie. It was like literally
How
like
so?
a movie.
Explain that.
Just the way he was walking, the whole thing, like the hoodie, like it would just caught me off guard. You know what I mean? Like it was no time to talk, no time for nothing.
Right. These people don't know what you're talking about with the hoodie, though. Can you explain what you mean when you say with the hoodie?
Oh, because he had a hoodie on.
Up over his head?
Yeah.
Okay. And was he walking straight towards you?
Yeah.
Was, you said Hills and 12 were with him. How close were they to him?
Oh, they was right behind him.
Were they facing you too?
My eyes was on Rocky at that point. Like when he said, "What now, pussy?" I was like, he's right there. You know what I mean?
You're focused on him.
Yeah.
But you can kind of see in your first read that the two other guys are
Yeah, for sure.
close.
Mhm.
Okay.
Is that yes?
Yes.
Do you know why I keep saying that?
No.
Right, see this lady right here, she's a word reporter, and she's taking down every word that
No,
everybody
I'm
says.
like really nervous.
No,
So I'm like, you know what I mean?
it's okay, a lot of people get nervous with it right there. I didn't want you to think I'm messing with you when I say is that yes or no. She has to take down every word that everybody says, and when you say or it's not clear what you mean. So that's why I'm saying you mean yes or no. It's so the court reporter's clear.
Like a bracelet.
What?
Bracelet.
Oh, thank you.
Okay. Oh, as best you can, if you could take yourself back to that moment, as you're walking up towards him, were you expecting to get in a physical fight with him?
I mean, at that moment, the way, before then, no, I thought maybe we were gonna talk. Or even when he did bring them, I thought maybe he was bringing them to like make a statement or something to like let them think that he's like tough or something, I don't know. That's what I kind of thought, like after.
No, I'm not talking about Hills or 12. I'm just talking about the defendant.
Okay.
Were you approaching him of the state of mind that you were going to have a physical fight with him?
No, I the whole time, to be honest, I would never fight Rocky. And that's God's honest truth. You know what I mean? Like, I don't have a reason to fight them. We're in an industry where you get blackballed really easy. I'm obviously on the lower end of the stick here. You get what I'm saying? So that's why in the video, you notice I'm a lefty. I pushed him away with my left. He grabbed me with 2 hands. If I wanted to fight him, and mind you, we're walking. If I wanted to fight him, I would have hit him with the right. You get what I'm saying? And it would have been fighting. Like, I stopped him with my left. And in the video, that's when you see Elijah, like, kind of like breaking it up after.
Before we talk about the video, we get there, I want, if there's any other way that you can explain that to the jury, what it would mean for you to get in a physical fight specifically with the defendant at that moment.
The only thing that would make me fight Rocky is if I'm physically like hurt, like if he punched me. Then I would consider hitting him or fighting him. But I would give him, just because who he is, like I wanted, and I think he uses that to his benefits or like whoever famous that whatever that shit is. But like I wasn't gonna fight him.
What would it mean for your career if you got in a physical fight?
Oh, it would be over.
How so?
It would be over.
Can you
Literally
explain that?
over. You don't have a career.
Was that in your head?
I'm like part of a conglomerate, like a group. So if I fight Rocky and I beat him up, or if we fight or something, I'm already not liked, and people don't like me and shit like that. So if I'm fighting him, I'm definitely getting blackballed, and all the labels like him and work with him and do this. You know what I mean? Like I'm just trying to swiggle my way in. You know what I mean? So if that comes to like light that we fought or something like that, I'm pretty sure it won't go good. Like nobody would do business with me or other things like that, you know what I mean?
Okay, I want to ask you just about a couple things you just said in your answer. You mentioned ASAP in that. Was the defendant kind of the most successful member of ASAP at that point?
Oh yeah, for sure.
By far? Would he have been kind of the leader of ASAP, even if not formally? Would he
I wouldn't
be
say
kind
the
of
leader, but
You both can't talk at the same time. Hold on. Ask the question again.
Would other members of ASAP kind of turn to him when they have projects or things like that?
not too many people. It wasn't real motion. Like then, it was pretty much whatever Rocky got going on. Like people would try things, but it kind of got to like what Rocky's doing or like stuff like that.
Okay. I mean, what I hear is you're saying he was like really the only highly successful member of ASAP.
No, because then you got Jabari that creeped through the doors, through his V-Loan, you know what I mean? You got Ferg who did music, but everybody else, good luck.
Okay.
And I mean, good
Including
luck.
yourself?
Yeah, for sure. I was definitely down and out.
Let's take a break now.
Okay.
Folks, we'll take 15 minutes. Please be outside the courtroom doors at 3:15, at which time we will resume. And please don't discuss the case.